Alright, so we're gonna get straight into this video today talking about Angela. I have seen a ton of Angela guides. I have seen a ton of Angela players, and I'm just gonna here to tell y'all when I say I was right about my prediction about Angela, about how 80 to 90% of you hoes was not gonna be able to play this character, I was very right. So, first and foremost, I'm gonna get to the pros and cons, in my opinion. So, the first pro I can think of Angela, right? Essentially, Angela is a flyer that has infinite flight. Right now, this is a double-edged sword because again, you have Iron Man-like flight. Right, you can fly Lily to health packs, which I don't see y'all do for real, and you can literally chase any character that has high mobility. Right, so I'm gonna say this again. The ideal game plan for Angela, short and sweet, so you know people that don't overcomplicate this, is you're supposed to chase high mobility characters. What do I mean by that? Quite simple. So I'm gonna go through the roster. Spider-Man, you can beat him. Iron Man, you beat him. Storm, like a weird, well, like flyer. She beat pretty much any flyer you think of. She counters. Ultron counters. Torch counter. Harder with Torch. That's probably the hardest flyer you got to run into, but she counters that. Going also to other characters. So typically, you know, what I'm saying Squirrel Girls also counters. When we talk about countering Hawkeye, counters. Namor counters. But like I said again, we talk about high mobility. Star Lord, Iron Man, Spider Man, Scarlet Witch, Iron Fist, Wolverine. She beats the majority of these characters. You could argue that Wolverine could catch her off guard with the leap, but again, you have one leap and she has infinite flight. If you play her right, you're not getting caught. I mean, you even really bully Magic, and that's saying something. Like, not a lot of people can say they actually beat Magic. Black Panther, you counter him. And like I said, I'm pointing out these characters because that's just the actual duelist that she counters. Anybody as far as on the medic list, except for probably about Loki, maybe Mantis, she pretty much counters. To be honest with you, like she's really supposed to be going for like squishies. If you're 250 below, she really can just handle you. Now, getting into the next thing with Angela, right? I see too many Angela players. Y'all just do this one stab. This right here, that's not y'all life support. All right. I want y'all to understand something called melee cancel. So you want to hit your, whatever on PC, you want to hit your R3, right? See that right there? That vertical slice? And you want to hit that also with your secondary, so your primary attack into the, you see how much damage that did? And then you can, let's say you fly while you reposition. Speed it up a little bit using your R1. Now you can do it again. Now that's a situation where I'm attacking and I'm getting out of there. That's just I don't want to use too many resources. So, next I'm going to get to her next pro. It's like this character is like so she can do everything. So people that don't understand the game are going to be exposed when they play her. She's really going to show you understanding of the game because Angela is an intermediate to advanced character. She's not a beginner friendly character. I do not recommend beginners play her. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to say the character sucks. You're probably going to delete the game and uninstall. But again, we have decent damage, a shield that can block ults. This right here, you can block ults with this. Alright, I know a lot of Angelas don't fly and use your shield. Please start using your shield. You need it. Y'all really do need it. Also, you have a grab mechanic. Remember I talked about that R1? This right here? That right there can be used to grab. Now, you see how I missed that? The reason most Angelas are missing, what you want to do is, you want to confirm with your R3. And then you almost never miss it. A lot of people saying use the right side of this or the left side of that. I'm going to tell you straight up, what's most consistent for me at least, is I always R3 into that. And I scoop you. And I carry you off into the map, and then that's it. Because, I mean, her real strength is displacement. She can literally pick, let's say somebody diving your teammate, she can take the person that's diving your teammate away from your team. She can carry you out of ults. She can do so many things. But again, this character is only as good as your creativity and your practice. Practice and creativity, put them together, I'm telling you, really, like, you're kind of unstoppable. I'm not gonna lie, like, you're kind of unstoppable, especially for like finishing. We talk about the ult, right? So let's get to her ult real quick. This right here is not a like YOLO move because when you throw this by itself, it does almost like no damage, for real, right? So what you want to do with that move, very simple, is you can use this to trap somebody in their ult. So let's say somebody throws an ult, like a healer ult especially, and you just want to trap them, make sure they stuck, you can do this. And then you can follow up. And then you go back up. And you go back again. So I've learned you don't have to stay here and fight. You can actually go alt, L1, cancel, right back down to the ground. And I mean, the damage on that is actually ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually ridiculous. But the thing about Angela players I feel like y'all are slacking on right now, at least from my experience, because I be tearing up most Angela players, Y'all are too direct, and you fly straight into combat. I get you have a high mobility, fast, brawling type of character, but let's be honest. If you really want to play dive or flank effectively, what you need to do is you need to like get an off angle, meaning you coming off of like a side point, where they don't see you coming necessarily. By the time they see you, you're supposed to already be like taking them out. So let's get back to melee cancel, right? So we talk about melee cancel. Something else you can do with this character is literally I want y'all to practice the R3, R2, and after R3, R2, I want you to tap this L1 in that order, and then just hold R2. It's like super simple. That's like a simple like string that's not gonna guarantee a kill, but in most cases, again, if you do that right on the right opponent that's not facing you, they're gonna pretty much get deleted. Or by the time they have time to fight back, they're pretty much on the way out there, gonna panic. Or my favorite, for people that play Venom, right? So when I talk about the type of character Angela is, she's a mix between Wolverine for like her basic like melee struggle where she has to pretty much come in close, Captain America, or you can even say Venom. Like imagine having better mobility than Venom as a tank. Like that's the type of character we're playing. You can pretty much escape almost every situation and just like pretty much get her, like whoever you want. Now let's talk about the actual cons of this character, because I don't want y'all to think that this is the all-powerful, end-all, be-all tank. In the right hand, she is, but if you're going negative, y'all need to swap. Like honestly, let's get into the cons real quick. So Angela has the smallest health pool of all the tanks. Her flight is very loud. You sound like a motherfucking flight jet engine coming through there, so you pretty much know you're coming, just like Iron Man. Angela has a huge hitbox because you're a tank. I mean, look how huge she is. You can't really miss her when you're shooting her, right? Angela has trouble getting into her ground form. So let's say I'm not resourcing my, like, actually taking care of my resource with the actual, like, dive. What's going to happen is when I do this, and then I fly back up, you see that little second that says 12 to, like, 10 seconds? You all have to master using her flight form. Now, I know that's really hard for a lot of you players that play Angela because, again, this is like y'all first time playing a flyer. I highly recommend before you play Angela, you learn how to play Iron Man. Learn his flight, learn how to like use cover, learn how to use off angles and sneak up on people and catch them off guard. And then I recommend you learn somebody like, let's say Wolverine, or I honestly say y'all should practice with Magic. That's like a closer play style as far as like sneaking around on the ground so y'all understand the logic. Because a lot of y'all do this. Y'all fly straight into combat like this. Like this is scaring somebody. That's not scaring nobody. All you're really doing is burning away your resources so they can just follow up. I recommend using your natural flight to get in and out. So use your natural flight, right? Let's say you come in off like again from cover. Let's say you go out of sight and then you swoop in, and then you get somebody. But I wouldn't recommend using your R1. If I'm be honest with y'all, I would recommend flying above them, right, really high, kind of out of sight, and then crashing down, and then you get out of there, just like that. But let's say you're really in a jam, you really need that health. Use R1 to really accelerate your flight. So you fly even faster, and it makes you a harder target to hit. So like that paired up with your shield, you really shouldn't be going negative as often as that. But I would tell you another thing that's making y'all really like have a bad time with Angela. Let me tell y'all about like teams or characters I do not want to see you grab Angela with and think you finna win. Which you can, but I'm just gonna be honest, it's gonna be probably too much for y'all to handle, especially as like a beginner. If you see somebody grab Punisher, you see them grab Hela, you see them grab Phoenix, you see them grab Bucky, and they're all on the same team. Notice all these characters are like poke characters. They literally have like high like range capability to shoot you out the air repeatedly. They're anti-flyer. That's what I'm trying to get at. If you see Scarlet Witch, you can probably get Scarlet Witch if you're close. But in most situations, if they're smart or they're good, they're going to get at a distance away from you where you can't really get with them. If you see Cloak and Dagger, you can get her, but try not to dive her as much as possible, because if she goes cloak form, she might get you out of there. I'm not going to lie. Like, one of the weaknesses of Angela, you're kind of a glass cannon, because out of all the tanks, you have the least amount of health. So with that being in mind, understand that one of the other unseen rules of Angela is you cannot expect to get healed playing this character. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. A lot of y'all don't stay near y'all team like y'all supposed to. The idea of Angela's game plan is she's basically flying around the point, right? The actual vehicle you're transporting, and then coming down and either stopping somebody from being dived on, right? Or you're diving the enemy team. Most cases, best case you can actually use Angela for is diving people that are diving your team. Like basically turning around, peeling, right? Flying down, and I mean just like you can literally hold them there with your ultimate, right? That's kind of like the second purpose of the ultimate, because it's really a combo ult. But let's say somebody's diving your team like Black Panther, you throw the ult, he gets hit, he's stuck. and then you just crash down, and then he's dead. And then you fly right back into the fight, and understand against you're the tank that has the most mobility in the game. Arguably, I would say she has the best mobility in the game next to Spider-Man. And I would argue it's really better than Spider-Man because you have infinite mobility. There's no cooldown on your natural flight. So when you die, you can fly right back to spawn in like, I don't know, 6 to like 5 seconds, just straight back to the point. But that being said, like I told you, if you're a beginner, I would sit in a practice, quick match. Don't go into competitive with this character, especially when you're going negative. Don't do that, because what's going to happen is you're going to get banned. People are going to trip with you. I'm probably going to ban you. I'm going to report you. I ain't going to lie. If you go 5 and 13 in my game, I'm reporting you, especially if I ask you to swap. So, hold on one second. I think we didn't cover it all. So, last but not least, we're going to talk about range real quick, right? Once again, the ideal range for Angela, which is kind of like another con, you have to be point blank in their face. All your moves are point blank. That's why I say characters that literally can attack you of, let's say, 30 to 20 meters out with repetitive high damage, like my boy Punisher, for example, he's going to melt you. This character's going to melt you. Not saying you can't get him, but unless you really master your strongest weapon of this character is your mobility. So if you fly behind him, sneak up on him, you know what I'm saying? And then you dive bomb him, you can get him. But again, you got to be point blank in his face. So again, your real targets are low mobility and high mobility characters. But I really want to say y'all should go for high mobility characters more so. Like honestly, that's kind of what your team needs Angela to do. If you got somebody that's being annoying like Moon Knight, Squirrel Girl, Spider-Man, Black Panther, that's where Angela comes like really in clutch. But if you're using her to fight tanks, get it up. I'm not gonna lie to you. Fighting tanks is not the move. Like, if you try to fight tanks with her, I'm telling you, you're gonna feed. Like, a lot of the tanks can basically, like, they can ground you. So when I put on tanks that's really gonna kill you, Emma's gonna take you out there with that grab. Thor, you can kind of get with, depends on whether you caught him off guard. Groot's gonna wall you off and bomb you. You can get him, but I mean, he's got hella health, so again, the team's probably gonna follow up with that. Venom, you can kind of get with more so. I would say you can kind of pick him off. Magneto, be very careful with him too, because again, that ult and that shield. Strange can actually, Strange is probably one of your better matchups, I would say. But again, if Strange knows what he's doing, he's going to melee cancel shield. I can't recommend with like good faith that y'all should go after tanks. I would go after the medics, right? Medics first, duelist, and then the tanks. I would not go straight for the tanks. Like Penny, that's probably your worst tank matchup. When she sets them vines up and you're playing Angela, you kind of wasting your team time. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're playing Angela into Penny, I don't care how good at Angela you are, you're not gonna be able to do much when she sets up the traps because they're just gonna blow you up, and then you're gonna have to fly off, and you might just die in the. Like I've literally killed Angela's because they flew into the nest. Like that's just a badass matchup. So I mean, if I'm Angela, I would probably ban Penny just off rip unless you have a Penny on your team. But again, a lot of you Angela players that I play with, y'all are very, very suspect. So I recommend, again, the first two characters y'all should play should be Iron Man, right? And the second one y'all should play, it should be Magic, Wolverine, Iron Fist, you know what I'm saying? Blade. Y'all need to learn some melee characters before y'all just hop straight into this. Because from my own personal experience, I had a little bit of training with Magic. I learned the concept of having to hide and fly, but I play all the flyers. I can play Storm, Iron Man, Ultron, and I'm usually, let's say, SVP or MVP of the team with those characters in most games. So you can reasonably say I understand the flyers, like the mechanics. But if you have never played a flyer and you're hopping straight to Angela, you're throwing the match. I'm not going to lie to you. Definitely throwing the match because you're playing her because I don't have to stop flying. Yeah, the enemy team's going to really quickly lock onto you. You're going to probably feed, and then your team going to lose because you're going to just be giving people free ults. I ain't going to lie to you. But, like I said, this is just, like I said, early impression / mini tutorial of how to play Angela. Going on from this, I'm gonna show y'all actual real live gameplay the next week or so of me actually like turning people up with Angela, so y'all can see that I ain't just telling you, you know what I'm saying, this is how it work. I'm gonna show you that's how it work. This has been Basketeers. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Till next time, peace.